Okay guys, doing a follow-up video to a video that I have to heavily edit that reviewed finding this knife and some other ones. This is a E.G.W. I'll put an exclamation of E.G.W. up there. This is it is a military style knife. World War II. Some debate whether it was officially issued or just available to the military. Reportedly, a lot of Navy people acquired or carried or used one of these knives. There you see E.G.W. then it says knife underneath it. Looked them up, in really good shape with the leather sheath that goes on it. You know, it's a excuse me. Prices on the internet, including eBay and other knife auction sites and such, prices range from $30 to $60 typically. There are some people who think they have the super rare, hard to find super knife, and they want, $150, $200 for them. I've noticed that this knife has a little bit of a, I guess, maybe a bend to it. The blade is not, probably hard to pick up on camera here, but it's really not true and in line. It kind of kicks off from the handle a little bit. I don't know, maybe we can compare. There's a straight edge. You see how it kind of kicks off a little bit, but not a big concern. I can probably just put it in a vise, put some tension on it, straighten it up. But this is, I've wiped this down a little bit to reveal the tang stamp on it. But I want to show you a really awesome tip. There's a fellow who has a channel. I'll put his link in the description. I'll post his channel ID and stuff up there. Calls himself the Southern Knife Hobbyist. Super fantastic channel. I've been, as I'm able, I've been watching some of his videos. Very cool setup. Got a great little cabin or whatever he works out of. Super smart, knowledgeable guy when it comes to knives, knife repairs, such. Kevin, the knife doctor, said he's picked up a few tips. That's how I heard of this guy, through watching Kevin's video about cutting pins with razor blade. Now, I knew you could do that with brass pins, but I didn't know that it would also work on steel pins. Very good to know. But I watched one of his little tips about revealing tang stamps. And he used a number 2 pencil, just a lead pencil, and it revealed the tang stamp quite nicely. But for me, I've been using it for more than that. I'm using one of these fat carpenter pencils that you buy for like 50 cents at the hardware store. But you can see here, we find this is really crusty. I have somewhere here a Scotch-Brite pad. There it is, I've been using. Now I can hit this with a Scotch-Brite pad and knock some of the loose rust off. All right? But this pencil, I can go over these rusty areas with just this graphite pencil. Careful to keep my hands off that edge. I don't know if you can hear that, but it just cuts right through the rust. And while I'm sure it's abrasive, it's probably not as abrasive as, you know, the fiber wheel or sandpaper or even the Scotch-Brite. And yes, now this blade is covered in a thick layer of graphite. So sort of, you see how shiny glossy that graphite is. But now, hit this with Scotch-Brite and a little bit of lubricant. That's some Walmart WD-40 knockoff. Half the price, just as good as far as I'm concerned. And look at that. Patina intact. There's still some rust over here, some pitting that I'll go over a couple more times. But man, look at that. I mean, just in a few seconds with it's kind of like John Wick with a pencil. The rust killer. It's just super cool, and I'm very thankful to that YouTube channel. Again, I'm gonna share it and post it up here so you guys can go visit the guy. Hit him with some likes, hit him with some subscribes. I mean, he's almost as many viewers or subscribers as I have. He's nearly 600. But that's beside the point. I mean, go check out the guy's channel. Very good stuff. He's very entertaining, very knowledgeable. Does some great projects. And he's definitely on my watch list. It's a super great tip. Again, the cutting of the pins with the razor blade, I've done that for a long time, but only ever tried it on brass pins, because brass is soft enough that was kind of a given. But I've tried it recently on some steel pins, and it worked pretty good. And razor blades are cheap. Yeah, it tears them up, but they're cheap. You just buy a new package, and it's better than some of the alternatives with trying to use drill presses or grinders and tearing up knife scales with a grinder, Dremel bits, and it's just a super good tip to get pins off of a knife. But the #2 pencil, or whatever, you know, the carpenter pencil lead, to just wipe. I mean, still, you can hear, still heavily pitted, still rust on there, but it takes it down to a really quick, you can see what's going on. Rust removal, I'm loving it. I've oiled this handle up. It's really gummy right now. Oiled it up with mink oil, letting it soak in. It's in fairly good shape. This is a recent scar. I mean, like recent as in, you know, probably while the lady was gathering this stuff up in the box, it probably got kind of nicked there. But I think I can condition that and burnish it or rub it down, wax it down, and make it a non-issue. Great little knife. They were never made to be a stabby knife. It was designed with this sort of rounded tip on them. There was a version without the serrations or fish scaler or whatever it is on the intended to be. It's definitely never, I don't think it was intended to be a saw. It's just not sharp enough to do that. But it's a pretty cool knife, fun to add to my collection. I'm not going to get rich. It has not been like over sharpened and tore up. You can still see the original grind lines on the grind. So that's a good thing. You have this like little false little swedge edge up here. Again, not meant to be sharp, but thin. Maybe if this was a survival type knife, maybe the round end was to aid in processing game if you had to survive or clean fish or whatever. I don't know, but it's a pretty cool knife, and like I say, not super valuable. It's not like I'm gonna hit it big on eBay. I'm not an eBay guy. Those regular subscribers know that. I don't sell. I am going to be selling some knives that I've collected solely for the purpose of going to Ellaville Knife Show coming up November 16, hosted by the Knife Doctor in Ellaville, Georgia. 30 tables there. Some vendors have multiple tables. I'm sure Deep South Cutlery is going to have at least 2 or 3. But I will have some knives for sale, some other items for sale. I got some beautiful camphor wood for knife scales, knife handles. Got a quick example I've been working on. I'm going to look at the grain in that. Let me see if maybe I'll just use a little bit of rim oil. To put on there and give a little look at the grain on that. It's absolutely beautiful. And in researching this, a lot of guys love using camphor for making bowls, wood turning and such, because it's such a lot of burl shape in there. And if you're wondering what this is a masking tape prototype for not really a sheath, but a leather backstrap that would snap on the knife. I'm not a leather guy. This is all new. This is just me trying to figure out how to do something. So I figured I'd just use some masking tape to create sort of kind of sheath for the handle, and then I'm working on one for the axe head here. And this is just a thought process and trying to figure out how things work. All right, back to this guy, E.G.W. I'll post. W is the last name of the fellow. I don't remember what it is right now. But fun knife. The rings up here for the lanyard are kind of rusted. I don't want to try to move them. I'm afraid I'll break them off. But pretty neat knife, fun to collect and mess with. I'll try to straighten that blade out a little bit, but I don't want to risk breaking it. So there you go. I'm going to call that a wrap for this video. The next, well, I sort of tuned up this one a little bit. This is a Boy Scout knife. It's unbranded. I haven't, Western is very commonly noted for these. It usually says Western on it, and the emblem is up here on this edge of the blade tang, and it says Western Official Boy Scout, but this one just says Official Boy Scouts of America, and the tang is located here. I glued a few of these pieces that are wanting to come off, and I've got it hydrating with some mink oil. I love that stuff. Used it for years on boots and camping gear. And I'll continue to hydrate that and see if it'll just swell up and tighten up on its own. I could do the old covered in lacquer or urethane and sort of externally glue it down. It's meant to be shiny when it's polished and buffed out, but that stuff gives it super shiny, and I'm not really a fan of that. But I did use the same graphite pencil to take all the heavy rust off of this, and then a quick buffing with the Scotch-Brite. All the original patina is still there. I'll get more of this off. I'll get the bolsters cleaned up, but I sort of tuned that up last night. The next challenge is going to be this queen. We'll do a quick preview here, see if as heavy as this. I don't know if that's going to help much or not. That is pretty heavy. Well, this is going to be a separate video all its own. Until I see you all again, it's Patrick OPD Robinson in the Cheesy Moon Workshop. Please remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and until I see you again, have a beautiful day.